Is this thing working? I think we're live. That looks like we're live. What's happening, everybody? Everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. So, holy mackerel, are you getting ready for Monday? Who does a big reveal on a Monday? Of all the to not be hype, it's a Monday. It's even a joke. Somebody's got a case of the Mondays. Are you kidding me? On Monday? There has to be some kind of tie-in to 3/20/23. Maybe there's something there. I don't know. But it's so Dodge to just not get something else right. But anyway, enough of my belly aching over here about what is an obvious marketing flaw. This is one of those funny things where, could you imagine sitting around the boardroom? They're going, okay, man, you know, it's roadkill nights. It's the weekend. It's Vegas, baby. What is worse than the ride home from Vegas? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Ain't nothing more hype than when the boys crew up, get on the bird, get on the plane, got your Jack, got your Diet Coke, already ready to go, already set and lit, even sometimes before you get on the plane. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Bloody Marys, Thursday morning, 6 a.m. You are already keyed up on the plane. You're hyped. You're ready to go. If you've got a red eye on a Sunday, or if you're coming back on that Monday from a long weekend in Vegas, why would you even want to do anything on that Monday? All you want to do is sleep. And like, damn, at this stage, I would have to take a week off and sleep for at least 2 days, right? So how are you going to have a big reveal on the worst travel day possible coming out of Vegas? Like, who stays in Vegas on a Monday? Nobody does. That's why there's a joke, deader than Vegas on a Monday night. It is a freaking phrase, all right? And how can you not even think that this is a poor marketing play? Like, this is somebody going for the budget. Like, damn, okay, what venue are you going to get? I don't know. Frank's Outhouse and Car Emporium is going to have us do okay, well, what's Frank charging on the weekend? $100. Damn. Well, what's Frank charging on Mondays? Damn, dude, you buy Frank a 12-pack of beer and a taco and he'll let you in. All right, we'll do it on a Monday then. I mean, that's the sense that you get with this. I mean, I'm not trying to start out negative, right? But damn, it ain't negative just to point out the obvious. Again, everybody's ready for the countdown. Everybody's hyped up. Everybody wants to see what this $1 million baby is going to be that Dodge is going to throw at us. What kind of rig is this bad boy going to really be? 1,000+ horsepower, all the gadgets and gizmos in the world to make E85 and flex fuel work. Finally, Dodge gets something right. All of that is going to take place. Could the technology waterfall? I don't know. Maybe. Sounds like a great deal. And then you're going to say, oh, but we're going to do this on a Monday. God, dog. I mean, damn, the marketing folly just keeps on happening. I mean, and the funnier thing about this is that they have this all geared up and all keyed up to happen during Roadkill Nights. Is Roadkill Nights even happening on Monday? Or is it just, I don't know, here's the Dodge parties showing up, gonna show off some new car or something? I don't know. Woo! Anyway, that's the intro, fellas. Would love to get your input on that. Let me check in with y'all, and I will get back to my ramblings over here. See, Damien is in. Dodge, what up, B? What's up, man? Ardell is in. What's up, man? Rowboat is in. Rome is in. What's up, man? Jebediah is in. Saying, ain't that the truth? Yeah. I mean, dude. Oh my God. I cannot get over this Monday thing. Okay, let me tell y'all, let me give y'all a quick what's up with this. So the reason why I'm like this about that is I had it in my head. All right. I don't know what I read. I don't know how I mistranslated this. I had it in my head that this was going down on Sunday and that Monday, the internet was going to be aglow with every fallout feedback and everything else that you could possibly imagine. I had envisioned in my head journalists got the Vaseline on their fingertips so they can just glide right through the keyboard. And all of this was going to be hype, set, ready to jet on Monday. And instead, I came to the realization that March the 20th, freaking Monday. In fact, I'm looking at it. Look at this right here. Is it still? Yep, still is on a Monday. Oh my goodness. So anyway, that's where I'm going with the intro on this. Can't help it. Mind is blown. Just again, I never, for some reason, clicked that the March 20th release date of all this information was going to be on a Monday. That is absolutely okay. So imagine this. You got a regular life, right? Like you're not, really all obsessed with this, but it's something that's kind of interesting. But you got a weekend, right? So you're like, damn, I got time. My mind's free. I can think about other things. Monday comes, man, you got work. It's a Monday for all that matters. You got everything rocking out with that. Not to mention, did anybody stop to think that we're within the 2-week window of the spring forward time change? Like, okay, so let me break this down. This is why, again, this is just another calamity or comedy of calamity, I should say, on behalf of Dodge with this release. Not only is it on a Monday and not the weekend and at the event at Roadkill Nights, but it's on a Monday in Vegas. Again, ain't nothing better than Vegas on a Monday night. Here you go. Okay, I suppose they're going to have this release. But here's the funny, messed up part of this. This is happening within the 2-week window of daylight saving spring forward. And the reason why that's messed up is because everybody's brain is mush during these 2 weeks. Fun statistic for you, by the way, this doesn't happen during the fall back, happens during the spring forward. General mortality goes up by 3% That just means that in general, for the 2 weeks that follow the daylight savings spring forward, regular general mortality goes up 3%. Automobile accident fatalities go up 6%. Now that is factored in that general mortality rate, but you've got a 6% increase in vehicular fatalities during this time frame. You've got a 3% general mortality rate increase during this time frame. And hey, what a sick sense of humor, since we're killing the internal combustion engine. Let's just bump this out there when there's a general rise in general mortality. I don't know if that was planned, and I don't know if I should love that or hate it, but chances are it wasn't. Just like the idea to have the release on a Monday wasn't a good idea. Maybe look in a little bit deeper to what you're finding yourself getting into, and maybe not schedule this big, awesome reveal during a mortality spike on the daylight saving spring forward 2-week window. So there you go. Let me get back with you guys on this live chat that we are on here. Oh, here we go. Oh, Bruce saying, what's happening? Say I'm calling it now, about 1,100 horsepower, trap speed of $155. ET of around 930. You don't need that much power to crack a 930 with that platform. It won't be quicker than the Plaid. So here's the thing. If all the numbers that we've received are correct, look for about 1,000 horsepower. I have an obnoxious amount of experience with 1,000 horsepower Hellcat variants with an 8-speed automatic, 309 gear, stock gear, it doesn't matter. And with weight reduction, they all run 940s. So 940s at about 142, 143, right in that range. They're not 150 mile an hour cars. but in good air, they will cover impressive numbers. And those are all E85 cars too, by the way. Oh, Damien's talking about RT Life's recent video. Jason's saying 1320 torque converter fit my 2017 Charger RT and 309 LSD plug and play. 309 LSD is the 1320 torque converter is not going to really do you any favors. In back-to-back testing, there's really no difference with the 392 cars, which means you won't see any difference in a 5.7. Illis is saying his prediction will be 150K recycled parts bin car, just like what they've been releasing since 2019. Cheers on that. Keith is in. Got a message retract. Robert saying it's actually smart because they want all of their own customers watching their stuff, no distractions. The problem is, okay, so on Monday, right? The kids are getting home from school. I don't know what time it's going to be, but you got to help with homework. You got all this other stuff going on. You got, still hungover from the weekend, whatever the case is. And now you got to deal with all that. And it's out of sight, out of mind. This is the spooky part about that. On Mondays, I'll tell you what, if you give me a task to do and I'm busy as hell, that task will absolutely get done, provided it's not on a Monday. Because Fridays and Mondays can potentially be the worst days for some people. Fridays, because it's the tail end of the week and you got to get something done or completed by the end of a week. So you have a deadline there. Monday, man, Monday's just Monday. So it's just a weird timing thing. Oh, Damien's saying Elephant variant, 1,000 horsepower, running at 9s. I don't know if $155. $155 is a really hard number to cover. I'm not saying it won't do it, but you have to remember that a parachute is necessary at 150, technically. But I don't think it's going to cover that number. Most of the 1,000 horsepower cars that I've run down the track, I've always run. I can put it to you like this. Chargers would typically be 960, 950, depending on weight reduction and wheel and tire setup. Challengers would be 960, 950. Weight reduction cars ran me 940s, and all of them at about 140. I mean, 143, 144 would be a real common number that I've run in those cars. Ardell saying, what is Tosh doing? It's so insane. Yeah, not going good at all. I would agree with that. And as far as it being one of the Elephant variants, it's going to be the C170. And you got the C170 and the A. The A motors are aluminum. The C motors it's carbon. It stands for carbon, for high carbon steel. So we're saying, why Monday? Nobody knows. Ruben saying it's a Monday reveal, and that's why tickets are still available. Unbelievable. The last car is a Monday when humans have to work. Indeed. Well, maybe not the humans that can afford the thing. Listen, if you've got the kind of scratch that it's going to take to drag one of those things home with you, you are not going to be the guy punching the clock on Monday. So it's kind of a dick move if you think about it. So, I guess all the aristocrats that can afford these things are going to show up on Monday because they can. Sippy. Hope they get chlamydia from a nasty Vegas stripper. All right, let's see. We've got good evening, B. Never understood having this on Monday when people have to work for sure. Ardell's going, Monday? Why? Exactly. David said, I don't think there's no particular reason other than Dodge just misses their timing. Indeed. Sovereign's asking, did I see that this car will only have rear wide body fenders? No. In fact, the car that they had covered was a wide body, but that could have just been a prop, so it didn't really matter. Super psyched. Maybe they're having it on a Monday because no one will be able to afford it. Exactly. That's what I was just saying. That's funny. Here we go. I just blasted right through everybody. What happened here? Hold on. Let's see. Damon's saying, talking about RT. I asked about the 1320 converter because I'm going to put a cam and FRP recommends 3,200 RPM stall. Get a 3,200 RPM stall converter from Circle D. Don't worry about the 1,320 converter. I believe it's the same part number as the truck converter too. That's why I'm saying it's not. You're not going to get anything really out of it. I'll put it to you like this. So if you line up a 1320 with the same level of weight reduction as a Scat Pack with the same wheel and tire combination, they pretty much run the same number. If there's anything in that converter that's going to help, it's not by a lot. Matter of fact, if there's a 1/10 of a second between the two, I would be surprised. If they're recommending a 3,200 RPM stall, go with something that is going to be a true 3,200 RPM stall. Damn it, what just flew up my face? Sorry, there's a reason why Garfield hates Mondays. Indeed. Keith saying 2013 RT Auto 386 open to 392 limited slip rear gear. Wow, should have been my first upgrade. I bet that car is lively. Fun combination, by the way. Good street car. Hitch is in. Even saying, Kevin, I hope I'm not butchering his name. He's implying it will come with a parachute. I don't know, but he gets got special invited to the reveal. Yeah. Maybe that's why the guy's jumping out of an airplane, insinuating that there's going to be a parachute. That would be funny if that were the case. It would be funny. Let me put it to you in another way. Let me tell you what will suck. And let's just hope this is not the case. All right, y'all with me on this? Some of you already know where I'm going to go with this. Here's what I'm hoping is not going to happen. That, we've seen all of this stuff that they're sending out, but we don't know that the 3-liter supercharger has an EO, an executive order, or has carb exemption. I'm not sure if it does or doesn't. We know the 2.7 does because it's on production cars. Don't know about the 3.0 supercharger. There's that. E85 compatibility stuff, that doesn't really bother me too much, but the power level worries me because when we're talking about 1,000 horsepower and we're talking about catalytic converters, you get into catalytic converter overtemp protection, which is part of the protocol in the operating system. And so the latest OS goes into cat overtemp protection, which is to say it goes real rich, really fast. Even just getting on the car on the highway, you may get one downshift, pull to red line. When it shifts, immediately goes into cat overtemp. That's what that whole reflash thing is. So, and I've seen that. I've seen that in data logs. It's a real thing. I don't know how much of a pull you can make with one of these cars with catalytic converters on a wide open hit like that. Add to that, putting a parachute on a street car is not legal that I am aware of. So you've got the guy hopping out of an airplane. Whether he's wearing a parachute, he doesn't ever pull the chute in the video, but presumably you kind of need one if you're making the leap, right? So y'all know where I'm going with this. What I am hoping is that this is not another drag pack type car. I am a little bit concerned about this. I was really not overly worried about it because I'm kind of not in that. I mean, I don't have a girl working that corner. So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't really care what it is. The thing about it, though, is I've had it in the back of my head. I've just been kind of wrapping this in the back of my head because I've got so much experience tuning, stock boost combination Hellcats. And I've seen what the new operating system looks like. And guys, I'm telling you, 1,000 plus horsepower, even being fogged with E85, I don't know that it keeps you out of catalytic converter protection long enough to really make that number work. So, is it even going to be street legal? Is it going to be 49 state legal? I don't know. We don't know this yet, but it's smelling a little bit drag packy right now. And although I don't know if a parachute on a car is a legal option, to me, it kind of represents a bit of a liability. What happens if the thing goes off going down the highway? I mean, that's something that is a customary type of a part. Anyway, so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I mean, as somebody who's been around this stuff for a hot second, unless they're going to be running a different style of catalytic converter, I've got my doubts, but I'm hoping to be proven wrong, at least in that respect. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Oh, Sovereigns, let's see. Space Dog, do you think this might be a top speed car instead of a quarter mile car? Anything with a Challenger badge is going to be a quarter mile car, and that's what they're going to harken back to. And anything that is a Challenger is not a top speed car, not unless they put a completely different front end on it, because these cars are about as aerodynamic as a barge. Rift is in. Sarah's asking, if Dodge released a slimmer, lighter, still retro-styled Challenger powered by an HO Hurricane, would I buy it? I would buy it if they badged it as a CUDA. I wouldn't be interested really in another name badge of Challenger, because Challenger as a car wasn't a direct line of sight sports car, if you will, not the way that the CUDA was. CUDA is basically the Challenger, just a little bit shorter. But in my head, CUDA was always pony car. Challenger was always that direct line of sight competitor to the Cougar. D in the Hizzy Rift is calling it in. I like it. That was funny. Sovereign's asking the same question a lot of people are asking. Why is production value on these teasers so bad? Great question. They just don't have a lot invested in it, do they? John's asking, do you think demon owners were invited to the Goblin? That way they can have the opportunity to buy them first, because they were going to be disappointed because it's faster than the demon from the factory. The funny thing about that is the demon owners were the ones to invest the most in the platform. But as somebody who is a 1, 2, 3 time recovering Viper owner and a 2-time Challenger owner, I can tell you that I don't know how or why they would get the initial invite, where there's other SRT owners that really should have got the nod. We're saying, so on Hellcat.org, there was a thread about what it takes mod-wise to run a 10-0 in the quarter, and I told them about you, and they did not believe me. The funny thing is so myself and Jim Mopar in Canada, Chris with Orange Crush, and maybe 2 other people out there are the only ones that are still campaigning, and well, for now anyway, or were campaigning stock boost 93 octane cars. It's funny. It was one of these things where I saw one of the threads, and I keep forgetting to respond to it, and it's going to end up being 6 months later, and I'll end up responding to it. But Jim did post up a really cool, congratulations. And God dang it, I need to, in fact, I'm going to write that down on my things to do checklist, because if I don't put it down on a checklist, it never gets done. Put on here, thank Jim on the forum. So one of the funny things is that we got tuned up a few times by guys that were saying, it can't be done. It can't be done. Well, funny thing is between myself and Jim, we've kind of been getting it done and running. I mean, like I say, I've run and he's run. I think we're the only two on 93 octane that have run consistent 10-0s. Like I've got let me think about this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 10-0 passes on my car. I think he's got about the same. So not only have we done it, we've proven that it's not a fluke. You can do it, although you need crazy air. There's still more in the combination. So just saying, it's almost better that I ran a 10-0 instead of running the 999, mainly because 999, somebody's head would have popped off their shoulders. Oh, Damon's saying that would be very disappointing. Let's see. Ruben saying possible another crate with this last call? Maybe. Tad's thinking water meth injection. That's another thing. I mean, it's possible, but okay, so how would you warrant that? You know what I mean? Like how could you even write a warranty that relies on water meth injection? That'd be a tough one. Michael's asking, do you think because they do have a transmission with an electric motor smashed into the back of it, they might be able to get a bit more performance and show off what electric can do? Here's what I would hope. This was something that I was saying, if they did something with the i6, bring the 9-speed into play that has that, I guess you'd call it an axial electric motor that is right behind the torque converter that would give you an extra 150 horsepower, 200 pound-feet of torque, or whatever the number would end up being. And it would be instantaneous. It gives you a range that you can travel just on battery. There's a lot of things that would come into play that would work well with that. And the technology's there. It's old technology, matter of fact. So it could be done. Who knows? Riff's saying about his cats doing some funky stuff. Yeah. You keep hammering them with that power level, and that's the thing. I just don't know. Like Rift is living with it right now, and he's like, dude, his may not, be long for this world. That's why I don't know. The thing is okay. So the Demon does just fine with the cats at its power level, and so do the Red Eyes. But again, they go into cat overtemp real early. Summer's liking the idea of the CUDA. Hey, Tad, thank you very much. Asking if this car will have water meth injection. It'd be tough, mainly because it's a warranty thing. Secondly, how are you going to prove that they're using the right water meth, boost juice and things like that? It's not that it wouldn't work. It's just also, here's the other thing. The only way that you can ensure water meth injection is actually working the way that it is intended to is to have direct port water meth injection. That is how it was originally designed back basically almost 100 years ago, when water meth injection was a real thing that you had to have to keep knock at bay with high horsepower supercharged engine applications. So I don't know. I just don't think that it's warrantable. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. But I don't know why it didn't pop up. Why Super Chat didn't pop up. Let's see. Ruben's liking the street legal drag pack. So you're saying, in my opinion, Dodge is coming up with a 909 at 18 PSI and 85, running 970 to $150 something. 150 anything at 970 would be an obnoxious mile an hour. Direct connection support, it can run an 899. Maybe, be able to support an 899 capable car with direct connection support. So you got the blower for it. Presumably you have the fuel system for it. there are plenty of guys that are running deep into the nines on that supercharger. So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's very possible. Just coming from a place of understanding what it would take to make that thing work in an emissions compliant, I should say. Coming from that place, it makes it real difficult. Now, again, direct connection support. Now we're on to something, but remember, can you run $899 on E85 with catalytic converters? That's tough. And by law, you can't remove catalytic converters for any reason under the sun. Even if you go into the drag strip, you're technically not supposed to do that. So that would be a pretty major hurdle. That's why I'm saying, is this another drag pack? Like, is this another car that is going to be not street legal? Not sure. Let's also saying, I hear it's 940 area and not 1000. Depends on how the math works out. Originally, when I was playing with the math and using a conversion factor of about 1.67, 1.64 for the CFM, I was also coming up with about 940 horsepower, or about 100 horsepower more than the Demon. So you're saying that's how they make their money back? Maybe. And Damien's saying Kevin's thinking it's going to be a direct connection play. It could very well be. But I mean, the thing is what I'm hoping, here's the thing. What I would rather see is direct connection waterfalling the goblin, the giblets, the giblets, whatever it is, the leprechaun, the Dr. Jekyll, the Mr. Hyde, whatever they're going to call it. What I'm hoping is that we see that technology waterfall into other cars. Let's say you want to put an E85 system in a Hellcat, or you want to put an E85 system in a SRT or a Scat Pack or RT, whatever. Hopefully that level of technology that they worked on for this car waterfalls its way down through direct connection. And that, to me, is actually really where the value of this car comes into play. Rift hanging out with Ruben. John's asked, do you always drink Coca-Colas and Gatorade? Yeah, kind of. I got breakfast blend to go in here with the coffee, but yeah, Gatorades and Coke Zeros, Pepsi Zeros typically, and bottled water. I got a whole grip of bottled water down there. Go through a lot of bottled water. Let's see. Ardell's out. Got to go. Got to work in the morning. Thank you, sir, for hanging out, buddy. Rifts. Talking about what, Hellcat.org, Hellcat.com, maybe? Maybe I think I missed something. John's asking, do you think a normal 707 Hellcat is very impressive at the drag strip in the quarter mile? If you've got a tire on the car, it's going to run a good number. It's a 10-second car. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah, of course it's an impressive car. The thing about the 707 to me is it's just a really good car all the way around. It's under stressed. It runs great. There's nothing wrong or inherently slow to talk about a 707 Hellcat. That's what mine is. In fact, mine is an early release Hellcat, 2015, born in November of 2014. So, yeah, I've been rocking that thing, and it does great. I mean, it's like I say, it's consistently, even in crappy weather, it's a mid 10-second car. So, name me more cars that cost what these that can run like that. I mean, you're just not going to find that many of them. And that includes red eyes too. Let's see. Oh, Rift, Hellcat.org. Yep. Not sure. I don't know. I never could tell who. There was Hellcat.org, Hellcat.com. There's a few of them out there. And Damien, yeah, for sure. Saying, this reveal is all good and stuff, but we need to know what else is going to be available next year. 95% of us will never get to see or drive one of these things. So yeah, we do need to see what is actually coming down the pipe. I just, I'm with you. I'm having a hard time getting and maintaining a sense of interest at all for this car when none of these other possibilities are being touched upon. In other words, is there a CUDA coming? Can they put the Hurricane in a platform? Is there going to be a hybrid variant, sports car type thing? And I would even be cool if they usher in, a Hurricane engine with this. I don't know. It's just, I don't have a lot of good feels right now towards Dodge with how they're handling this reveal. Again, on a Monday, kind of gross. Vegas is gross on a Monday anyway. I mean, that's when the street sweepers come through there and hose everything down. It's just not like nobody is in a good mood on a Monday in Vegas. It doesn't work like that. So, except for maybe accountants at the casino. HU37 saying Dodge may make the car resemble a Superbird. I mean, who knows at this stage of the game? Wouldn't put it past them. We're saying they can get people to pay 50 large and more just for a package that is a stripe and they can sell anything. Yeah, that's true. Riff's hanging out with Ruben. Let's see. I was also saying his buddy's a math genius. Maybe we'll see something, Mignana. I don't know, man. Maybe there's going to be a leak. The whatchamacallit. Ruben saying 930 at $151. I mean, look, if it covered a 930 at 151, which the power level that they're talking about, it can cover that number. I'm not saying it can't, and I'm not saying it won't. I'm saying that it would be very difficult to cover that number. Remember all the headaches that the Demon owners went through when nobody could run a 965? Let's see what they're actually going to claim with this car and go from there. Rift, I think I'm missing something here. What am I missing? I guess y'all have something going on over here talking about pulleys and stuff. I don't know. Hey, Cesar, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. I don't know why I'm not getting super chat notifications, guys. I'm just seeing them as I'm scrolling down talking to y'all. So I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's see. Cesar, no, direct connection does not support high flow cats. They only have the factory Scat Pack / Hellcat cats. Let's see. Letting you guys kind of work through y'all's chats here. Damon said, okay, let's say it makes 940 to $150, perfect conditions. I put it on a track. Let's find out. I mean, that's the only way to find out. If I put it like this, if you have 1,000 horsepower, I've run 1,000 horsepower cars at the track, and they're almost always, depending on weight reduction and all of that, somewhere in the 940 range for the Challengers. So it's definitely there to do it. But again, like you say, it's going to take real specific conditions to do that. I would say that it will probably be easy for the car to run a 965, but we'll see. I don't know. Again, it's going to be condition specific. And I've run 950s in pretty conditions with cars that were in about that power range. Dad's 8 orders nitrous express nitrous kit. Very nice. Rift. Yeah, you don't need a lower. You do need to pin it though if you're going to pulley it. Boost is boost. Let me say, we know 965 at $140 with the Demon. That never happened in the wild, I'll say. But 970 at 138 sure as hell did. 975, I should say. 976 with the Demon. So it has to be 5 more miles an hour and at least 950 trap. It will go 950s, no question about that, at 1,000 horsepower with a drag pack in really good air. It will absolutely do that. Might as well be vaporware. Yeah, it's like I say, it's going to be incredibly expensive, guys. And the other thing too, let's say it runs a 945 at 148 miles an hour. Okay. Well, the thing is, and it's street legal. That's the other thing. I mean, you got to remember there's a lot of caveats to this. If. Does that make it special enough? I mean, I get it. I understand that everybody would love to see something be that fast, but the reality is that we've already seen Hellcats going that fast for a long time. So again, I'm at the default to my hope is that the technology waterfalls into the hands of the enthusiasts that are actually out there running around on the street, and that it is street legal modification. It translates, I should say, into a street legal modification you can do to at least your Hellcat and have an opportunity for other guys, if they want a flex fuel option, to be able to run a flex fuel operating system with the hardware to go along with it. That would presumably be basically kind of a plug and play deal with a separate sensor. That's what I would hope that this would translate to, but we'll see. Eric saying, good evening. Good evening, man. Eric saying, by the way, I don't know if you heard that. Something sounded healthy out there. So get a load of this. We'll take a break from talking about that. I'll tell you all something funny. So we're in the middle of Texas 2K here in Houston, and woke up this morning to hail. That's right, folks. This morning, it was hailing in Houston, Texas, which is typically not ideal conditions to run your 2,500 horsepower contraption down the quarter mile. Set a record for, not me, but the Texas 2K had a record set at 200, I don't know, some kind of stupid number, 232 miles an hour, one of the GTRs, billet block type of contraption. But anyway, woke up to hail this morning. So it finally cleared up not that long ago. And what's been funny is that guys have been coming back from, I guess, going to the 2K race. And there are all kinds of liberties being taken with local traffic ordinances. And so if you hear something ripping it out here, chances are they're heading over. There's some spots over here that are very friendly to a bit of the old high speed argy bargy. And so anyway, there's been a lot of excitement going on since then, but it's cool. It's actually practically cold for this part of the world. But yeah, woke up to hail this morning. So don't normally see that this time of the year. Ruben saying it's a Cordova. Yeah. Not a CUDA, Cordova. Eric is in. Good evening. Let's see. Oh, hang on. Make sure I didn't lose my feed here. Okay. Lost y'all for just a second. Cal's asking, at what point should you go built motor on a Hellcat? At what point? I would say if you are trying to run, put it to you like this. If you want to legit be consistent running 820 to 850, I would probably go with a built bottom end, just because at that point I would add displacement to make life a little bit easier. But and I would go up in compression ratio too. I mean, the generic combination to go deep into the eights is any displacement over 400. And if you're going to be running on corn, depending on the fuel that you're going to be running, anywhere from say 12.5 to 1 on the low side to 14.5 or 15 to 1 on compression ratio on the high side. If you're just going to be going boost only and not hitting it with nitrous. And then run the 3.0 Whipple on it. Pulley the piss out of it. Lots of boost, lots of fuel. But again, it depends on the goals with the car. If it's a street car, you never have to go built ever with a Hellcat platform. It's one of the reasons why I like them so much is they are built like a tank. I don't have them here, but I mean, stock rods on that thing are big. They're just really good cars, man. Really, really good cars. John's asking if the Chrysler 300 is basically a luxury version of the Dodge Charger. Technically speaking, the Dodge Charger is just a kind of a rebodied-ish version of the 300. The 300 came out first. But the Charger, in a way, kind of, they're all based on the same platform. Keith, good question. I'm pretty new to drag racing. What's the proper etiquette when staging your car? Okay. First, let's start with a burnout. If you are going to do a burnout, try to tandem do a burnout with your dance partner. It's your dance partner. It's who you're going up there with. Do not get up there, do a burnout, and then run up to the lights and double bulb the guy. It's a surefire way to get real frustrated because that'll almost force the guy to just really take his time. If you're going up against somebody who is used to drag racing, proper etiquette, tandem burnouts, creep up to the light. When you hit the beams, when you hit the first light, the first staging light, don't double bulb the guy. Go ahead and pre-stage. Let him come into the beams and pre-stage and then roll forward, or he'll roll forward and light the second bulbs, and then you can do the same. That way everybody's kind of working with the same deck. Just don't slow play it. That's one of the most annoying things. Especially if you've got guys that are really trying to shoot for a number, they're trying to keep temperatures within a certain range. And if you slow play it, you can get the guy outside of his range and kind of butchers the run for him. And it doesn't do you any good either. So just do the burnout, roll through your burnout, get at least up near the light, and then both of y'all come in at the same time. That's the best way to do it. Let's see. Griffin Caesar and HU Dodge may be making a car that can compete in NASCAR. If you can't build muscle cars as we know it, they may come out with a model that places more emphasis on sportier cars. Maybe they should. Oh, Catalyst, thank you very much. Again, I'm sorry, guys. I'm not getting notified when y'all super chat here. How much more power does a 10% lower pulley add to, say, a 285 upper Hellcat? I'll put it to you like this. 10% lower with a 285 upper is almost a waste of time if you're on E85. If you go 10% lower, just go with a 275 upper. That is a guarantee. That's your 1,000 horsepower combination. 10% lower with a 285 is going to put you at about, like on a Mustang dyno, put you at about 775. So that 10% lower is going to be worth, say, 60 horsepower, give or take. But I wouldn't even bother with that. If you're going to be going, if you're planning on putting a 10% lower on the car, just go 10% lower, 275 upper, the 285. See, at this point, you are on E85. And so to go with a smaller pulley ratio, even if you're at sea level, isn't really going to do you any favors. In other words, it's not going to be safer. Look at Paul's car. Excessive was a 10% lower, 275 upper, made 815 to the rear wheels through stock manifolds. And that car would absolutely run a 940. And so, there's a combination that works. And again, the 285, even really, if you're at altitude, that 285 upper won't be doing you a whole lot of favors. Go with the 275. 265, the thing is with a 265, now you're really starting to overdrive the supercharger. So that's kind of the sweet spot right in there. Riff saying they're all built to a standard and right to just boring to me. Oh yeah. You come up with little tweaks to make them faster. The problem is modern cars have already got the tweaks done to them. Damien said, I think that GTR was gray with turbos in the front. I think you're right. That dark gray one just screaming. Eric saying, I miss the old days of the muscle cars too. Yeah. Oh yeah, Riff's talking about 285 gets you. 285 will get you over stock. Yeah, about 150 on corn. So the 10% lower. I mean, you're going to get more. It's just it just depends on what you're doing. I mean, like I say, I would go 275 and go with the 10% lower, and just put the package together that is a known strong performer. Caesar's asking, what's your take on pushing over 1,000 horsepower on a 392 with eagle heads, LT headers, talking about long tubes, 20 PSI, all built ARP fast. And question is how to avoid lifting a cylinder head or 20 PSI and not enough boost for that. If you're okay, I put it to you like this, there is no difference between your 392 and going with really any of the, let me think about this, any of the commercially available, they just go with stock Hellcat head gaskets for that matter. But anyway, it's not gonna, you'll be fine. I mean, it depends on what kind of compression ratio you're going with. I mean, obviously if you're going that deep into it, you're going to be doing ARP fasteners. You're not using stock pistons at that point. So, I mean, if you're going to be hovering around the 20 PSI range, you're on E. So if you're going to stick to even stock compression ratio, it'd be fine. I mean, there's plenty of guys that do it with Hellcats all the time. So, shouldn't be a problem. Oh, Rift. Yeah. Asking about numbers. So I'd say 190 wheel at the most with a 285 upper and 10% lower on E. I mean, quoting dyno numbers is kind of hard because I don't know what kind of dyno you're on. I don't know. I just, as somebody who's been around dynos for the better part of 2 decades, it's one of those things where I don't like trying to quote dynos because I know all the things that can go wrong. I know on a Mustang dyno, a stock Hellcat will put down 600 horsepower. A really healthy one, 595, right? So let's call it 600. 10% lower, 275 upper, injectors, corn, you're making 800. So it's a 200 horsepower player. You pick up basically 33%. So anything less than that will be less than that. So I'll tell you what, guys, hold that thought. I got to do one thing real quick. Hang on. Damn it. Hang on. I always forget to do that, and that compressor will kick on, and it'll sound like a freaking battleship is running through here. Okay. So anyway, that gets you, like, that puts you, hopefully that will give you an idea for what the car is going to make. So 10% lower, 275 upper, fuel system, corn, tune. That's going to put you at, let's call it 800 horsepower just for ease of discussion. A 285, Rick is saying $190 on a Mustang dyno, it would probably be down, I don't know, say 25 horsepower. I don't know. It wouldn't be worth it. Just go with the stuff that works. If you've already got the parts, that's fine, but you are going to be giving up a little bit. But just keep in mind that it'll be useless on the street with either pulley ratio you go with. That's all we're saying. Hit that like button. J Masters got the cadence. I like it. Got the bald guy with the shades and the flex. I like it. 6U saying, Dr. Mason, 12-1 compression on a boosted car. Yeah. Oh, that's nothing. You start getting into the guys that are well, look at Mustangs. Mustangs are 12.5-1, and they're all running boost. But there's reasons for that. Those are, also dual fuel systems. In other words, port and direct injection. There's some things you can get away with. But yeah, that would be the thing to do. I mean, that's what a lot of guys listen. The guys that are really hunting a number on like E90 are going to 14-1. 14-1's not super crazy, by the way, for an ethanol based supercharged engine. And keep in mind, you're running a lot of compression to make it to where you don't have to run the amount of boost that it would take normally with a lower compression ratio. And so you have a lower discharge temperature. So there's reasons behind that. And it really works really well if you've got a big supercharger that's pushing a lot of air. By the way, speaking of, a big supercharger that's pushing a lot of air, if you don't have to twist that thing real hard and you can get by with a much higher compression ratio, it's a lot more efficient. But one of the show that I was going to do tonight was going to be just based on supercharger stuff. And then I realized that the reveal was going to be on Monday and my head exploded. So let's see. John's asking, would you rather have a brand new C7 ZR1 or a brand new Demon? Damn. What would I rather have? I don't know that I can answer that question. That is a hard question to answer. I love the okay, so the Demon is the red eye with a 309 gear is one of the happiest cars you could ever imagine to drive. It's a car that is in just such a good mood. It's like having if you could drive a Labrador Retriever, that's what driving a Demon or a Red Eye is like, with that 309 gear, the 2.7 supercharger. It desperately needs a tune, though. It desperately needs a tune to deal with a bunch of the heat nannies, but they're just such a happy car to drive. But that ZR1 would probably be the one that I would pick, just because I have such a fond memory of driving Alex's when I worked for Pikes Performance. I loved the ergonomics in the C7. So I would probably begrudgingly say the C7. Eric's asking, Dodge should have been working, or saying Dodge should have been working on a new rear-wheel drive platform for sure. X is in. What's up, man? We're saying, damn, that's a hard question, John. Yeah, it is. Rift. Yeah. I mean, the C7 is just the C7 ZR1. C7 Z06 is what I was driving. And that thing with just a little bit of breathed on is really, really good. I mean, really good. Caesar, thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. 6.2 Hemi Power, thank you. Say I'm going corn finally. Race gas is $15 per gallon. So should I go 265 upper or nah, just go 275 and the 10% lower? The reason why I say that is, listen, you can overspin the supercharger, and the happy place that we found, 10% lower, 275 upper, 127 pound injectors, injected engineering, twin pump setup, this plug and play type stuff. Tune it and enjoy. Most of the time that would come with a cat delete pipe though, but you can just get out there and enjoy it. And it's a combination that, I mean, it is without a doubt one of the most durable, oddly durable, actually, if it's tuned right. I would say if you're going to do something like that, give the guys at Peitz, that's Peitz, give those guys a shout. Have them work you through one of the Bravo packages. Let them know I sent you. It is and was then and is still today my favorite package for the Hellcats. If I were to do anything to my car, it would be similar to that package. I would probably, honestly, if it were mine and I was going to go corn, I'd just go 265 upper and let it ride. Mainly because it's just it's a combination that just works. Or a 275 upper on corn is also a fun one, because here's the goofy part about that. A 275 upper on corn, in really good air, you're practically guaranteed 960s. And it takes a lot more power to go from 960 to 950s, like a deeper 950, like the 10% lower. And it's just kind of fun. So there's a lot of fun combinations that are out there, but those are some of my favorites. But thank you very much, 6'2". Appreciate the question. And Caesar, thank you very much for the super chat. Very much. Didn't have a question to go along with it, but thank you, sir. I do appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, Riff say, yeah, it totally depends on the dyno. Yeah, that's why it's so hard for me to quote dyno numbers, because I don't know what dyno you're on. The other thing is that I've had the worst experience with dynos when the weather stations fail. And when the weather stations fail or they're reading kind of wonky, it screws up your correction factor. So I can tell you what the cars would make on a Mustang dyno when the Mustang dyno is working properly. Start getting outside of that, and it just, I don't know, it starts to get a little bit hit and miss with the accuracy. I'll just put it that way. Riff doesn't like the 309 gear. 309 gear is great. Right up until you start flirting with that that 10% lower 275 upper power range. It's at about that time that the 309 becomes less of a benefit. That's when the 262 actually becomes kind of the gear that you want. In fact, at one point in time, there were a lot of guys that were chasing, 8-second time slips that were running 309 gears and kind of, had mission creep to where it started off one way and now they're really making a bunch of power and they were launching their cars in second gear. Rift is saying it's just uncomfortable drive. Yeah, tipping into the throttle. A lot of times with that kind of combination, I actually take throttle sensitivity out of the car. 627 976 at a $143 with a 275 and MS 109. Yes, sir. That's about right. Depending on your altitude. I know that we run similar numbers with the 285 and pump gas. Usually in really good air, 285 on pump gas, like on kind of air is like a 980 number. They've been faster than that, but I mean, it's just like, quote, the fastest number you've ever run with them. So, but yeah, 985, give or take. So about a tenth slower with the 85. Rich saying, I don't know what it is on the downshift from 3 to 2. Sometimes to 1, it gives me whiplash. And I mean, when I'm slowly. Oh yeah. When it does the downshifts, especially in track mode, it'll do that. It hits you pretty hard. Sovereign saying, hit that like button. Yeah, guys, hit the like button. Hey, listen, if y'all are new to the show, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you stopping by. Consider hitting that like button, hit the thumbs up, ring that bell. It means a ton to the channel. It helps you get the content like this channel or other channels. If you like this kind of content and you hit those likes and subscribes, you'll get more content like that. So it's one of those algorithm things. But it definitely helps and will help you get the content that you're looking for. And I'm the same way. It's kind of weird. And I've got to get more into the habit of doing that too. I'm guilty, just like everybody else is, of, you see something, you like it, but you forget to hit the like button or you forget to hit the subscribe button to somebody that you find yourself watching more and more of their content. It means a ton because it means you're going to get more content like what you like. So if you like me, you also might like Racer X, or you also might like Speedy, or you also might like Demonology, on all the Mopar style content. It all kind of somehow or another does that interlinking thing. And so, the more you like, the more of that kind of content you're going to get. And the longer you watch, the more of that kind of content you'll get too. Crypto is in. Eric's in. What's up? Got the flex and the thumbs up. Freddie was saying, what's cooking, B? Oh, he's got the cadence with the flex and the ball guy with the shades. I like it. Cal's asking, do you like the 272 Hellraiser? I don't have a problem with the 272 Hellraiser, provided that you're running the stock lower pulley. So whether you've got a 272 on a 2.7 liter or a 272 on the 2.4 liter, if you try to run a 10% larger, lower pulley, you will disintegrate that Hellraiser pulley. We've seen it happened to a buddy of mine's car at the track. I mean, it was, and when they go, brother, they make a mess. So if you like it, you're thinking about going that route, great. Do not install that pulley unless you have a tune, especially if you're at sea level. No, you do not have enough in your tune to be able to manage that pulley. I don't care what anybody tells you. Matter of fact, I say, and I'm not trying to wear a cape here, but I know for a fact I saved at least one car, just one, in person at the drag strip just because he asked me to take a look at a data log. He recognized me, which is kind of cool and weird at the same time. But he goes, "Hey, can you look at this data log for me?" I said, "Absolutely." It shows HP Tuners guy. And it had so much, it had knock retard. It was coming unglued. The car thought that it was going to fly apart, and it rightfully probably would have, with all the knock retard, everything else that was going on wrong, because he had a 272 on the car, no tune, because he was told you don't have to have a tune for this thing, and he was in really low DA. Bad idea if you're at sea level, so don't do that. Make sure if you're going to do it, just get a tune and get injectors. Don't ever add boost to one of these cars without putting a different set of injectors in it. Please, 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 and thank you. Here's the thing. Injectors are cheap. Injector Dynamics, Fuel One is a company in Houston. A guy's name is Keith that owns a place. Look it up. Tell him I sent you. Great guy. I don't get paid for any of this, but awesome guy. He takes fuel injection and components extremely seriously, flow balances injectors before he sends them, the whole bit. Fuel injectors are a whole lot cheaper than an engine. All you got to do is spend the $600 on injectors and you've got injectors. Don't think that you can just show up, add boost to the thing, and somehow or another pray your way into that thing holding together. That's not how physics operates. It just doesn't work like that. So please, if you're going to go that route, put a different set of injectors in the car, get it tuned, do it the right way, save yourself a ton of aggravation. You'll thank me when you don't blow your car up, and have the right people tune your car. Sorry, saying thanks everyone for hitting the like and subscribe. Ruth saying, if you're saying you overspin the blower on a 2.4 with just a really small upper, how are some people driving 2.4s only making the same power safely? Oh, no. What I'm saying is, okay, so if you've got a 10% lower and you're running like a 250 upper or 265 upper, no, you're not going to hurt a 2.4 with a 265 upper by itself. It's when you start getting into the 10% lower. And listen, there were guys running 254 uppers with 10% lowers before too. So I know it can be done because I was watching these guys do it. You see the thing on the dyno and you're going, it's going to let go, but it never did. So I just, at some point, when I say overspinning, I'm not really worried about the blower itself, even though when I have talked to IHI, they're going, you're doing what? This is back then too. So back in the day, I was talking to the guys at IHI. We're actually even talking about the 3.0 way before it was ever even on the Elephant engine. Got a lot of insight on the development of these superchargers, by the way, and impressive stuff. But anyway, they're going, you're spinning these things how fast? I'm like, oh yeah, I do it all the time. And they're going, you've got use, misuse, and abuse. And what, these guys were, go, oh yeah, they're good for like 10% over. And we're going, okay, well, we're doing a little bit more than that with them. So anyway, yeah, that's only with the 10% lower. You're not going to hurt it with like a 265 upper by itself. I wouldn't worry about it. Kevin's asking, what's the stock record for a stock Hellcat? Define stock. If you're talking stock boost on 93 octane, it is a 10.05 with a 9 at 136 miles an hour. And that's me running that number with that car. Stock. Without a tune, locked computer. I'll put it to you like this. I remember running a 10. I didn't have an unlocked computer for a long time. And I want to say I ran a 54, a 1054, but that wasn't in the greatest of air though. I don't know that anybody's actually ever really number hunted with just a plain stock car on a drag pack. Nobody's going to fault anybody for running a drag wheel and tire setup with that car. But a Hellcat 262 gear with stock 20-inch on Summers, I know for a fact will run a 1089. So it's still a 10-second car. Oh, Eric's saying every dyno is completely different. God, man, let me tell you, you don't know the half of it, brother. They're, not only are they different, but they can be calibrated wrong. They can have software glitches like what we had with that Mustang dyno. I became an expert with replacing boards on those things. There for a while, I guess they had a bad run of them, and we had to get a replacement. And then the whole thing, it was I don't even want to think about it. That was a pain in the ass. We had to manually type in the conditions to get the correction factor to be correct. It's a pain in the ass. Oh, Sovereign, yeah. Most of the time, just checking in. Yep, typically I go live Tuesdays and Saturdays around 7:30 Pacific, 9:30 Central. It can sometimes be a little bit earlier, but typically it's the later number. J Master saying in the IV bag teaser after the Leprechaun got his 85, he had lightning bolts coming from his eyes. Do you think hybrid tech could hit the platform before it leaves? Man, I hope so. I hope when that first hit, that's the first thing that I thought, like, oh, sweet, battery acid. Okay, so I originally thought that the IV was battery acid. And so that was what, like, I was thinking, okay, they're going to run hybrid style transmission, and it's going to have, and not to say you couldn't still do that with the 85, but I'll say, okay, hybrid style transmissions with the eyeballs and everything. Thought that'd be great, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, man, I don't know that the hybrid transmission that they have is rated as high as the HP 90. Which, by the way, when it comes to transmissions, there has got to be a special place, like at the top of the Hall of Fame, if there is one for transmissions for that HP 90. It is a monster of a trans. It takes a lot to wreck one. I'll put it to you that way. So I'm saying, be save the day. Man, I tell you what, it was, I mean, I was like, dude, cut it off. You can't. That's actually happened. Technically speaking, it's happened just because I data logged a car. 1, 2, 3. It's happened for sure 3 times where I've had somebody ask me to data log their car and found something wrong with it. And that's at the drag strip. 4. I'm sorry. There was one more, 4. And that was at a Mopar Fest event. So we're saying 39 likes. Yes. Awesome. Thank you guys. Cal's asking, if you do heads and cam package on a Hellcat, will it make much more power? Not really. It'll make about the same power, but the boost will be a whole lot lower. Your discharge temperatures will be a whole lot lower, but it doesn't really make a lot more power. You'd be surprised. In fact, we did a kind of a test with a cam on a Hellcat, and I think the Hellcat only picked up like 40 horsepower or something like that. It really wasn't worth doing, but the boost went from like 11 pounds of boost to 8. I mean, it just hemorrhaged boost. But it picked up a little bit of power, but it just dumped boost. That was one of those things where put a smaller pulley on it, see what it makes. 60 saying 600 where? My ID 1050 is 1100. I don't know. We were buying from Fuel One here in Houston. Prices may have gone up, but you get 1300 cc injectors from him. I can promise you they're going to be good because we were using them. And this local dude takes and rebuilds injectors, kind of like cutting out the middleman in a way. Give him a shout. Name is Keith. Riff's asking, didn't Kevin Van Voorhis just have a heads and cam package on his Hellcat along with the regular mods? and he was making good power. I think running in the 8-second range. It's easy to do with heads and cam with a Hellcat. I mean, but you're going to be spinning the hell out of the supercharger and boosting the hell out of the car. So, but I don't know what he's been up to lately. No clue. X is asking, do they have the stock windshield wiper motor installed? That is awesome. So what he's talking about is when I first, last year, when I ran the 1008, I had this list of questions that were getting flown at me. And it was how much weight reduction. One of the questions was, did I remove the windshield wiper motor? And so what I did is I put this video together, and it was, here's my windows going up and down. Here's the windshield wipers going. I mean, what are you talking about? It's so crazy. Anyway, it was funny. It was funny only because if you rewound the clock to the year prior to that, all the demon guys were pulling everything out of their cars. Okay, we're talking door cards, electric motors, windshield wiper motor, out of here. I mean, anything that did not have anything to do with an engine, a transmission, or getting the car to go from point A to point B as fast as possible, they were taken out of the car. So we're talking the headliner, we're talking the B-pillar covers. Everything was getting pulled out of those cars. And the reason why I had a bit of an issue with that is these guys weren't documenting that. They're like, hey, listen, we pulled 600 pounds of crap out of this car, and now it's running whatever number it is. And I'm going, guys, you are not presenting this in the spirit that the competition was being held in. I mean, you wouldn't have bought the car if it came from the factory looking like that. And this, anyway, it was just kind of a long, convoluted thing. So anyway, it was more funny than anything else. Let's see. Rip to saying, I just sold my ID 1050 for $400 and they were damn near new. But yeah, they are expensive. But again, I mean, we're using a local. Hopefully the guy is still in business. And I know that one of the guys just bought some injectors from him about a year and a half ago. Sovereign's asking, they're using Hall effect sensors on the dyno. I wouldn't say Hall effect. They're eddy current is what they use. It's for the any of the loaded dynos uses an eddy current. They could have a Hall effect sensor in that system. I never tore one apart to look into it, but there could very well be something like that going on. Riff saying, he's got his buddy Ruben has that 2.4 upper, runs low 9-second times. Yep. So I'm guessing the interchiller helps with the heat. Can. Oh, running that itty bitty upper. Yeah. Yeah. Anything to help mitigate heat is a big deal with a positive displacement supercharger because they generate a lot of it. The twin screws that we have are a lot better than a Roots, but still, they do still generate a lot of heat. Any kind of compressor generates a lot of heat. Turbos, all of them do. Oh, so we're saying trying to figure out how it registers speed. It registers speed. I mean, it's just, RPM of the drum itself, however it's measuring that. But it's the known circumference of the drum based on RPM gives you the speed. So I'm sure there is some type of a Hall effect sensor down there. X is saying, man, I am curious about the official price of the new car, how Dodge fans will react, and if Dodge will be around for more than 10 years if they go the EV route. Well, listen, there's a lot of there are some folks that are talking about, EV is great. Listen, EV is great if you want to go fast in a straight line or around corners or do anything. EVs, you cannot touch an EV for flat out acceleration, whether it's lateral or straight line. You can do things with torque vectoring with an EV system that you simply can't do as quickly or as efficiently with internal combustion. That being said, y'all have seen the quote before, and I'll say it out loud. I don't know who coined it, but I'd rather have my burger grilled than microwaved. And this is where I have a bit of an issue with EVs, is that they're not foolproof. Sell me an EV based on performance, and I'm on board. Sell me an EV because it's supposed to be good for the environment or whatever, which it isn't. And I'm like, oh, no, that's when I'm out of the conversation. So, but I get where you're going with that. Like if they start going a bunch of EVs route, is anybody even going to want the things? I don't know. It's hard to say. Oh, Ruth's saying also having race bearings and port and polish blower helps. Yeah. The thing is that once you start getting to about the 900 horsepower to the rear wheel range on like a dyno jet, or 800 horsepower to the rear wheels on a Mustang dyno and eddy current dyno, that is when bigger snouts, bigger throttle bodies, and all that can really start to help. The thing is, though, by how much, I don't know. It's hard to say, because what shows up on a dyno is sometimes hard to translate to the drag strip. And we found that with cold air intakes, right? We found that with, a number of things, including bigger throttle bodies, snouts, and all this other stuff. It certainly can't hurt. And if you've got the ability to tune around it, in other words, put in the correct airflow values for those components so that they doesn't surge at idle, you'll be fine. I know that when I put just a slightly larger throttle body on my car wasn't in that great a mood. It would surge just slightly, but also didn't try to tune around it because I was only doing power testing with it. Your egg's going, wham, got the flex with the ball guy with the shades. I like it. Jason's asking, what would be the difference from a cam with 220, 228, 113 plus 2? So that's on a 111 intake center line, and 228, 238, 113 plus 2, also on a 111 center line. Those two cams are the ones I'm looking at. First doesn't need a stall, second does. 220, 228 on a 111 is actually a really good cam. I would like to see it a little bit more advanced than that. So maybe at a 109. That is the sniper cam almost. And it will not lope. It's I take that back. It'll barely lope on a 113. It's going to have power everywhere, and it's going to basically make the car think that it's a 426, to be honest with you. In fact, hang on. Do I have, let me see if I've got dyno charts on a cam that's basically that cam. Let's see. Got a bunch of dyno charts on the 6.4 stuff. That's tuning. Hang on. What it'll do is it will add about 40-ish horsepower and about 35 to 40 foot-pounds of torque to it. In essence, I don't have that on here. In essence, it is going to make it, because it doesn't lope that much and it does still pull better on the big end, it's going to make it act like it's just got a bigger engine in it in general. And it's a lot of fun to drive. The 113 helps that a ton. 228, 238. The problem is the 228, 238, you would have to run it on a 111, and it's going to be lazy at partial throttle. It's a little bit lazier, I should say. I don't want to say it's going to be lazy. It'll make more peak power, but it's going to try to rev out the back end more than your stock intake manifold is really going to be able to cover. In fact, with 220, 228 is a really good fit for your stock throttle body, but your stock intake manifold. So it just depends. The 228 is going to be a pretty healthy cam. Remember, you've got a set of heads in that car that flow crazy numbers. So a little bit more cam goes a lot farther. Like the effects are much more exaggerated with the Hemis than they would be with, say, like any of the LS variants. Save for the except for the LS7, which has a set of heads that flows not much differently than the heads that you have. So it just depends on what you're going for. I really like the smaller cam because you've got a set of heads that are amazing. You don't need a lot of cam to really make it work. And a 113 plus 2, that puts you at a 111. You'll be okay at a 111 with that cam. I'd just be like, on a 228 on a 111. I almost want the 228 to check in at like a 109, even more than the 220. Oh, Cattle saying, heads. Oh, talking about Cattle says responding to heads and cam on a Hellcat. It still picks up power, but the problem is that you really do need to catch up with boost, in my opinion, anyway. I know people like to argue this point, which I'm like, why would you? Anyway, unless you have a car that is grossly undercammed, which is client. Anyway, well, Demonology's already talked about it. He had a stock cam in his car, and I put a cam together for him for what is now the Black Ghost. That's got one of my cams in it. And it is crazy how much power that car picked up, but it just didn't have enough cam in it to deal with the amount of air that was trying to go through it. So that's a situation where the car was way under cammed. It was making way too much boost. Now, with a stock car, the compressor is not overly taxed. So when you put heads and cam on the car, you don't really hemorrhage a ton of boost. But you do pick up a little bit of power. But the thing is, it can be a little bit lazy without the boost down there. It takes on the personality of the cam that you put in the car. It's true of any boosted or naturally aspirated, it doesn't matter. The cam is going to dictate the personality that the car takes on. So more duration, tighter LSA, it's going to make more mid-range torque at possibly the expense of power up on the big end. But it just all depends on the cam that you put in the car. I guess the idea that I'm going with here, though, is that it can feel a little bit soft if you decide to put a slightly wider than normal lobe separation cam in the thing with a bunch of duration. It'll definitely make it feel soft until you really get it into boost. And really at that point, you need to be running with more boost anyway. Let's see. Cat's asking, how do I like the Maggie 2650 compared to the Whip 3.0? Whip 3.0 has got a lot more upside to it. Whip 3.0, by the way, the Whip 3.0 and the IHI 3.0 are extremely similar. They both were looking up each other's skirt when they were putting their blowers together. Maggie 2650 is a damn good supercharger. I mean, if you've got a 2650, I wouldn't sell it to get a Whip 3. The last 2650 that I saw on the dyno, this is on the Mustang dyno, is a 426 that had a Maggie 2650 with one of my 426 FI grinds. And that thing on a Mustang dyno put down 966 to the rear wheels, but it had the power curve of a the power curve looked like a 392's power curve if you could just raise it up higher. That car was a beast. Don't let the numbers fool you. That thing had torque like an 18-wheeler, man. I liked that combination a lot. Seventh car at 100K easily. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Microwave hamburgers. Yeah. Gross. I would say way more than 100 grand. Yeah, Rift is better on point. I'd say 150. Yeah, that'd be MSRP and get ready to double that. X is saying it's crazy to see these cars go for Mercedes prices. Ironic that they were built off a Mercedes platform. Rip is saying, going by the guesses of some folks, they're way out there. Oh yeah. There's just too many restrictions, too many things that would keep it from running crazy deep numbers from the factory. HU saying, I know that headers will lower boost. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. The risk of detonation is less if you decide to put a smaller pulley on top when you lower the restriction with the headers, or is there no difference? It helps. That the factory manifolds, though, are really good. I mean, if you're talking about the Hellcat stuff or the Scat Packs, for that matter, really good combination there. You'd be surprised how good they are. One of the things when you're running boost is you want to dump exhaust as fast as you can when you are in boost, because you don't need long tubes to scavenge the cylinder. That's what the compressor does. So whether it's a Roots, screw type, centrifugal, it doesn't matter. It is handling the scavenging of the cylinder for you just based on the amount of overlap that you have in the cam. All cams have overlap, by the way, some measure or another. Where the long tubes do help you, though, with a boosted combination is partial throttle, tip-in throttle response, things like that, especially if you have a centrifugal supercharger. That's when you really want to have long tube headers on your car. In decent size ones too, 1 7/8. For Hellcat, I don't know that it would help you at all. You'd be better off just sticking with the stock manifolds, honestly. And again, when I'm telling you that we've run, deep into the 9s, it never involves exhaust other than maybe a cat delete pipe. It's always factory manifolds. I know that there's some out there. I just some aftermarket shorty headers even that I have never personally tested on a boosted application, but I'm sure they can't hurt anything. I'll put it to you that way, but it will need to be tuned for sure. One of the things I like about the factory clamshell, type manifold that comes, it's the tubular headers, but it's got the clamshell heat shield. It keeps all the heat inside of there, or it keeps a lot of the heat inside of there. X is saying, just doesn't make any sense to spend that much money on a Dodge product. I get it. 100% get it. And Rich saying, I'd rather just buy the crate motor. That's what I think they're betting on, guys. Is guys just moving over to like a C170 crate motor and calling it good with their own fuel system. Someone saying, y'all rock. Thanks for hitting that like button. Yes, thank y'all very much. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff, man. Rich just got the dab. 8-speed saying, let's see. Call SRT released a leaked video of the new car. You should check it out. Looks like it's going to be marketed as a high output demon. That would be cool. Like I say, hopefully the thing is street legal. I initially was seriously questioning that. Riff saying definitely a KO video release. I have not seen it. Riff saying, by the way, I keep seeing videos of ways to stop thieves from breaking into your cat and pulling up a little strap to put it in neutral. Doesn't seem like anyone else knows there's also another one outside. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, it doesn't matter. Here's the main thing. It does not matter what you do to your car. If somebody wants it badly enough, it's gone. All right. I have given tips before as far as what would annoy me if I was trying to steal a car. And you just have to kind of put yourself in the shoes of a thief. You need to be able to get in, get out, and get done with your job. Your job is not to hang around and try to troubleshoot a problem. If there's a problem, your job is to get the hell out of there and try to find another mark. And so, and besides, people can get a little bit persnickety when they find out that you're trying to steal their car. I'm reminded of an incident that I was told about very recently where there were lead poisoning was involved. I'll just leave it at that. It had nothing to do with me. It's just something that happened locally here. So it's one of those things where, yeah, you can slow down somebody trying to steal your car. Again, there's ways to help mitigate it. With the strap thing is one. Obviously, an OBD2 blocker type of a product is another one. In other words, the deal that goes into your OBD2 port, you can lock that thing all up. It again just makes it a further pain in the butt. Kill switches are another way you can get around some of those issues. Turning off your passive entry is a really good way to create an issue for guys trying to get into your car. Faraday pouches, which you can see one hanging right underneath that dinosaur right there. If you've got a car with a push button, you have a really good chance of the guys not being able to get your RF signal. So there's things like that you can do to help eliminate some of the problems. But again, if they want it, they're going to run off with it. H-Speed said, talking about that video, it has the startup and everything. You can see the logo. He also pops the hood on the Supercharger Demon logo. It says 170 on it, basically confirming that it's the C170 engine. And I'd called that, like, you guys have seen the video. I called that early on. In fact, I was leading folks to that info. Riff saying, you're right. If they want it, they're going to get it, but I still refuse to tell anybody where that kind of stuff. I don't even mention it. So we're saying you can't give lead poisoning to the thieves in California, unfortunately. Oh, you can, and just make sure that nobody finds out that you did. Riff saying, I found some crazy things that's on my DSS drive shaft. Yeah, oh yeah. If you learn a lot of stuff once you get underneath some of these cars. Catalyst, I tell you what, why do people keep saying their cars are built, not bought, when they obviously paid for it and had someone else put it together? Brother, I've been saying that for years. In fact, I had even done a show on that. And at one point, it had a couple of these like old heads got really pissed when I was pointing out to them that you can't holler built, not bought. That's absolute nonsense. It doesn't really work like that unless you pull up to your garage with your own car. You remove your heads with your buddies or whatever. You get in there, you do all your own porting, right? You do all of your own porting to the heads, all of your own porting to an intake manifold. You work on your own carburetor. You do your own fuel injection tuning. You do all of these things that don't require you to buy something per se. Then it's built, not bought, because you're tuning it, right? You're improving on something, but you're not buying parts. And where I'm going with this is the whole built, not bought video. This has been, it's been like 2 or 3 years ago. It's been a long time ago, but the whole built, not bought thing is funny because guys were getting worked up over it. And I was like, damn, built, not bought, but you bought your car. And you bought Chinese cylinder heads and a Chinese intake manifold because you're going to save money because you're not going to get ripped off. So now it's not only bought parts, but they're like not even from here. I mean, what, so anyway, it's just kind of funny. I had one dude get his shorts all wound up over that, which I thought was absolutely adorable. I thought it was hysterical. Sovereign saying, yeah, it's not a 426. The new car, no, I don't think it could be. The whole built, not bought thing. So for me, having a whole bunch of aftermarket parts on your car, that's great. But you can't holler built, not bought. You say it's built, and you bought a lot of parts to build it. That's where I go with that. Oh, Rift. Yeah. Gets a little uppity on the built, not bought thing. Here's the problem with that. So guys that get worked up, or guys that start saying, built, not bought. The problem is they've got a lot of bought parts on their car that are, it's arguable that none of it has come from the United States in most of those cases. So it's just funny. They'll have an American flag, but a bunch of Chinese parts on their car. 6'2" Heavy Power saying, leave it in valet mode, pull the starter and fuel pump fuse. You can definitely do that. Nothing is going to, you get one of these things and it doesn't start and there's something else going on there. It's going to be a headache and the thief's immediately going to sprint. So yeah, pull the fuel pump relay and you're done. There's a bunch of things you can do to really slow the progress of the thief. And again, a lot of times you slow them down enough, they're not going to want to have anything to do with that car. Oh, Riff's saying they can still tow it. Yeah, a lot of them are getting lifted that way. Sovereign's liking Nick. Yeah, Nick's old school shop. But yeah, the main thing is just to detour them with as much of a headache as you can give them. Cal saying, if you bought the car parts, you still bought it. Yeah, that's the thing, that where the built not bought thing, it always comes from the old school guys. It's never really the new school guys so much. At least in my experience. Y'all might have lived through something different, but I rarely would have any of the built not bought guys be from, like, you would never hear an LS guy do that. Like, it's built, not bought, even though they're the ones that seem to buy all the parts. You'd never see that. A lot of times that would be coming from old school dudes. It would be coming from old school dudes. And this is where shit would even get even funnier. It would a lot of times, not all the times, but it would be small block Chevy guys. And they would get all uppity over this stuff. Built, not bought. But the thing is that it's not like they were taking like 441 or 883 heads off of a small block, Chevy and putting Vortec heads. Like I said, ported, studded Vortec heads on the thing and, going with a, roller cam and all this stuff. It was never that. It was small block Chevy with, Speedmaster heads and intake manifold and, insert whatever carburetor on the top of it with, some other cam that's in it with, going cheap on springs and all this other stuff. And that's built, not bought, but it's a piece of shit. Like, you used a bunch of overseas parts, but you got, American flags painted on the car. It was always kind of a weird, is it irony? I don't really know how that plays out, but anyway, it was just always kind of funny. He's Riff saying, but if you build it yourself and don't have a shop build it, is it different? In that case, yeah, in a way it is. Like, you can say, I built this thing. I'm the one. I can tell you where I bled on this car. That's really, I think, the essence of built, not bought. Like, for me, I've bled all over everything. I bled all over that car. Foxy is a whole different, yeah. Stormy, bled all over that thing. Everything that I've had, I've bled on. So, I can tell you, at least by that, I've at least paid my blood tribute. Sierra, I had a huge cut on my hand because of Sierra. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I've bled on Stormy more than any. in the shortest amount of time, I think, than any other car or truck. Oh, Callus is hanging out with Rift. I agree, but to a degree. Like I say, if you're bleeding on it, you know, you're at least in the club, right? But for the most part, you know, you're still buying parts. And you're, you know, like I say, that I tell you what, let me tell you who can really fall into the built, not bought category. The guys that would go junkyard crawling and they would pull, you know, Vortec heads, do all their own porting, do all this other stuff, bleed all over the thing, put the thing together, get it running, do all their own tuning. At that point, maybe you got an argument, but I guess that there's levels to this. But anyway, it's just always Cal said, I bought my own computer. I didn't build it. I don't care. Exactly. So anyway, guys, I'm going to start wrapping this up. We're coming up on 2 hours, but I wanted to get y'all's ideas as far as what is going to be going on with this new 7th edition, last call, whatever. You know, for me, guys, I'm having a hard time getting worked up and excited over it. And with just the falling upstairs that Dodge seems to do so readily and easily, I find it curious that not only are we coming into this thing on a Monday, but it's Vegas on a Monday, which makes it even kind of funnier. I'm just having, I'm really excited for what it could be, what it might be, what it may be. But the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm thinking that, you know, regardless of what the car is, I don't want to use the word hope. I can only assume that we're going to be working with something that will be a technology placeholder that hopefully will allow for this technology to waterfall into the rest of our, you know, little plebeian purchases that we've made from Dodge. But anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. If this technology waterfalls into our cars, and that can be something from direct connection, guys, that's really the best outcome for what this car can bring to the table. I don't know that a car like this is something that you really aspire to have as much as you want your car to be able to kind of do what this thing can do from a cool standpoint. And in this case, that would be the flex fuel capability, different operating system, bigger injectors, the whole bit. Have that be something that you can plug and play into your Mopar hot rod, and you'll be in great shape. So, guys, with that, I want to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank each and every one of you for hanging out with me. Love each and every one of you guys, man. Would not do this without you. Get out there and do something cool for somebody. Chances are they need it way more than you know. And with that, guys, that's a wrap. Thank y'all all so very much, and we will catch y'all on the next one. Adios.